So the question is, where do your sales start? Now, there are two facts about where your sales start. And so if I was on the phone with you, I would be asking you these two questions because it's super critical. We've already showed you in the first two videos that you have to start a conversation and you have to help them before you could ask them to even consider your solution, right? You have to build a relationship before you sell, and that you have to have trust, right? Because that's the heart of all relationships. You're doing the same thing. You're not going to get on the phone with us, right? And sign a contract and do business with us simply because we sound like nice guys. You're going to want to get answers to your questions. You're going to want to make sure that this is a smart buying decision for you. And that's fine. Your clients, your prospects were no different. They're no different. So what you have to do is you have to figure out where the sale starts for them. Okay? So there are two questions. The first one is this: what percentage of your sales start online in some form of research? Now think about that. I've asked that question to thousands and thousands of companies, probably tens of thousands through these videos. If your answer isn't 90% plus, then we really can't be of service to you. But the likelihood is, unless you're selling something that isn't a very complex sale, okay, but even something as simple as researching a doctor or making any sort of economic decision that's worth a few hundred to a few $1,000s, there's some form of research going on. Okay, so the reason why we do that is because that research means that they're going to websites. So there's URL level navigation. Okay, there's keyword search. There's content consumption, specifically around their problem, right? Then there's even solution research. There's industry expert reviews. There's client reviews. There's company analysis. There's all sorts of things that they do, okay? And those are the behaviors. Those are the behaviors that lead to a purchase, okay? That lead to a purchase. I promised you in yesterday's video that I was going to tell you the two things that you have to have at the precise moment when the prospect is ready to tender a macro yes, right? Ready to purchase. You, as the company, as the marketer, must be there at that moment with two things. The first one I've already discussed at length. You need to be in a relationship. And number two, you need to be top of mind. Now, we've already talked about being first and controlling the perspective on how they see this problem, right? And how they see solution, right? If you're first and you build a relationship and you communicate in conversation with them, you're going to define the value. You're going to set the buying criteria, and every one of your competitors and alternatives are going to be compared to you. Okay? That's an absolute. The second thing you need to have at the moment the prospect says yes, is you need to be top of mind. So I want to do a thought experiment with you. And be honest. In the last 24 hours, you've seen 100 ads. Name one. Now, again, I've probably asked that question to tens of thousands of people, business owners, right? C-level executives, from Fortune 500 companies all the way down to the little one-man shop, okay? I've asked that question over the phone probably in the thousands of times, and I make people answer. I don't bail them out. We go with that pregnant pause, and there's silence. And the reason I ask that question is this. When we say top of mind, it's not just about building a relationship. People forget. And I hope that this thought experiment has demonstrated to you how quickly you forget, because you're no different than your prospects. Memory plays a tremendous role in conversion. Think about it simply as this. People cannot act on what they forget. People act, prospects act on what they remember. If they don't remember, they can't act. Now, your sales cycle is over a couple of days, a couple of weeks, even a couple of months, okay? From day to day, week to week, and God forbid, month to month, they're going to have to remember. You've seen an ad in the last 24 hours and you can't even tell me what it is. And you've seen 100 of them. So even if you give me one, tell me what it said. Tell me what the message was about. What was the call to action? It's very difficult. Okay? And I want you to be honest, because if you're sitting here listening to that question and saying, you know what, Tom, I get it. I can answer that question. I know the importance of memory. Well, there are tricks that you can utilize. And if you own and control the data, you meet them where they are during their research stage, you build a relationship, and you can consistently put a message in front of them. We show people that 50% of your ads don't even have to have a call to action. In the last video, I offered to get on the phone with you and to help you identify and to be able to express properly your value proposition, okay? And a value proposition answers the question, if I'm your ideal prospect, why should I buy from you rather than a competitor? Now think about this. If you and I, right, let's pretend I'm the prospect and your business. If you were to look at your value proposition, you would see it differently than I would, right? My perception, my outside perception would be that the value doesn't outweigh the cost, right? That's the analogy. Picture a scale and value outweighing the cost, right? I don't see that. I see it the opposite way. I see cost outweighing the value. But you, the creator, the developer, the person who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this, you, on the other hand, see this and say, Tom, this is a fantastic purchase for you. The value far outweighs the cost. Okay? One of the things we recommend is that all you have to do as you're starting those conversations is a small percentage of your ads. Okay, and again, you're not advertising to the haystack. You're only advertising to the needles. So you're not throwing money away. It's to run some very inexpensive ads across multiple channels, not just one channel, multiple channels. All right, banner ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, a series. And we'll show you 13 different ad channels, online, offline. Being very strategic, okay? Being very strategic. So the best use of this to be top of mind, believe it or not, is very inexpensive banner ads. You see, when you know who you're targeting and you're only targeting people that are actively pursuing the outcome that you sell, right? Only pursuing a purchase of the product or service that you offer, then all you have to do is two things in your ads. You run those banner ads on a consistent basis. All right. When I say only, I mean when I say the non-call to action. You definitely want to drive people to your page. You definitely want to do that. And there's plenty of things that we can show you with that. Okay. And I'm going to get to it here in a second. All right. What we call in funnel, right? Someone who's on your page. I'm talking about that 50% of your ads where all you do in the advertisement is talk about your value proposition one or two ways. You either state it or you support it. You provide proof. Okay. You don't have to beat the drum, click here, and then build out content. It could take them to your homepage. All you're using those ads to do is stay top of mind. Okay? Remember what I said. Prospects act on what they remember. The thought experiment should have demonstrated to you that you've forgotten. Okay? Now, there's two things about running ads consistently every day. Imagine that your sales cycle, for argument's sake, is 20 weeks. Somebody who is 2 weeks into that 20 weeks is different than someone who's 10 weeks in and somebody who is 19 weeks in. So how do you put perfect prospect timing in your favor? How can you have perfect timing with each and every person who's in that sales cycle? Okay? How can you do this? And it's simple. If you're only advertising to the needles and not the haystack, then you can run ads consistently every day, multiple channels, and you could change the messaging. And what should the messaging be? What I've already taught you. State the value proposition or support your value proposition. The answer to the question, why? Why should I buy from you? State the reason why and then provide proof as to why you state it is accurate and true. Because the first thing is they have to understand. And the second thing is they have to believe. And the proof is what helps them believe. The proof is when you're educating them about their problem in the building of the relationship. You as a prospect are no different than your prospects. They want to know they're making a smart buying decision. There's no amount of money that is worth making, like giving them a discount if it's a bad purchase. Like a discount isn't going to help them. You're throwing money away, right? And the inverse to that is people will pay a premium if they believe that they're going to get something where the value outweighs the cost. So knowing that your prospects start, if the answer to this question on the screen isn't 90, 95, 98, 100%, okay, then we can't help you. But if there's a place where this sale starts, them researching, them getting comfortable about their problem so that they know what to seek in a solution, and you're the company that's educating them and building the trust and developing the relationship, then you're going to have a relationship when they're ready to say yes. And if you're running the ads every day because it's effective and you're running them consistently on multiple channels and those ads state the value proposition and back up the value proposition, then you've taken care of the first thing. And the second thing you need to do is answer this question. What percentage of your sales visit your website before purchase? Think about it. As great as an in-market lead is, okay, somebody who's actively pursuing a purchase of what you sell, the person who is actively pursuing that purchase from you, remember what I said, they research their problem first. When they come to your website, now they're researching solution. They're considering buying the outcome they're seeking, the solution to their problem, or the delivery of the result that they want but do not have from you. There is no greater value to you from a lead perspective. There's nothing more valuable to you than somebody who is what we call in funnel, right? They're in your website. They're on your landing page. They're in your funnel. They're shopping you. It's the person who's in your store digitally. We offer a piece of software that you can place on your website, all right? When we offer you our in-market targeting, if any of those in-market people, and we track well over 125 million people, if you push those people to the page into your funnel, we know 100% of them by name, and we could identify them to you, and we help you with that. And again, when you get on the phone, I'm going to show you how that piece alone will lower your cost per click at Google and Facebook and anywhere else by between 25 to 75%. Lowering your cost per click means you're going to acquire clients and leads for less. You're going to lower your cost per acquisition. If I can buy a client for $200 and you have to pay $400, if we're head-to-head competitors, all due respect to you, I'm going to whoop your butt every day of the week, including Sunday. There's nothing you can do because I can take that difference between the 200 and the 400 and I could offer more value. I could lower the price and still get more sales than you. And there's no way you can compete. Now factor in me knowing first when somebody's in market, the ability to own and control and have all the conversations I want, help build trust while you're selling your solution before you even know who they are. I'm going to win. I offer more, lower price, and still profit more than you. Profit is the key to victory, okay? So if you know who's at your website, you can now build an offer, okay? There's always friction. Your price is friction. You can't remove price, right? You can't give it away because you'll go broke. So how do you overcome that friction? Incentive. Now, incentives can cost money. Maybe you'll throw in a premium product along with it. Maybe you'll offer something a little bit more, which increases your cost. But if you're already operating at a lower cost per click, lower acquisition cost, that incentive doesn't necessarily have to be super costly, but enough that you can offer it to everybody, okay? So you only offer it to those people that are already engaged with you. Only people who would get that offer are the people who are knocking on your door, on your website, actively spending time seeking a solution from you. Okay? That's why it's important that you know first where all your sales start. Because if you know where this research starts, you can start the conversation first and you can stay in front of them top of mind. You could build a relationship, be top of mind, because you have to have those two things when they're ready to say yes. If you don't have those two things, you ain't getting that yes. And the second thing is, think about what I originally said in the first video. The greatest probability of profit was an in-market lead, with one exception, an in-funnel lead. Somebody who is not only actively pursuing an outcome that you sell, but they're actively pursuing that outcome from you. Actively. They're engaged. It's like somebody walking up the aisles in your store, your digital store. They're engaged in your website, your landing page. Okay? If you can do that, actively see who's at your website, you have a tremendous opportunity. Now, you might sit there and say, Tom, I can put a pixel on my website and I can retarget them. Okay, great. Tell me their name. And cookies only last 4 weeks. If you can convert that to a permanent record, then number one, you own and control it, right? Which means you can take it to any platform, any device, online or offline. And you're not on the clock. You're not at the mercy of a powerful supplier telling you what you can say, when you can say it, how often. You can go to any platform and start a conversation. You can make any offer as often as you want because that record is permanent. Think about your company. If you had the names of everybody who's visited your website in the last 12 months, would you be making the same money you are right now? I'd bet you dollars to donuts that you'd be making a heck of a lot more. Okay? Now, here's the third part, and this is going to be what we cover in tomorrow's video. What you're missing is the power of today's technology, machine learning. When you know who's on your website, and when you know who buys from you because you have attribution capabilities, meaning you know them by name, people-based, the ability to recognize them, right? It's not only being able to recognize them on any of their devices so you could advertise, or any marketing platform so that you could advertise, all right, online or offline. It's also being able to recognize them that those were somebody that you marketed to when they purchase. Well, guess what? There's an even greater thing. We talked about behavior that leads up to a purchase. When you could target the behavior of somebody who's about to buy, you could start the conversation first. But when you tie that to artificial intelligence, machine learning, you can drive the targeting and refine that targeting, okay? So having an ability to know who's on your website, that's the first level of conversion. If they fill out a form, right, they're better than somebody who visits your website. If they purchase, that's better than somebody who fills out a form and is better than somebody who visits your website, right? 3 levels of conversion. A click is the lowest, a form fill is the second best, and a purchase is the third best. Now think about your business. That sale happens off your website. And there's typically a gap in time between the last time they were on your website and buying from you. Imagine being able to navigate from the moment they start researching all the way to buy from you. And you know who they are in every single behavior, from their research to your website to everything they did when they engaged with you over the phone. We started this conversation off with a slide in the first video that said, success in business has a lot to do with knowing something others do not. In the last 3 videos, I've told you exactly what you should be doing, okay, to be more profitable. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to show you a technology, okay? And whether you're doing this with me or you're doing this with another company, and there isn't anybody out there doing it, okay, you need to be doing this sometime in the near future, okay, like today, if not yesterday, because this technology, okay, is what's called a structural change. And what a structural change means is that this change is not something you could stop or prevent. It's going to happen with you or without you. And in tomorrow's video, it's going to be a very simple technology conversation. I'm going to show you the forces, the technological forces, and the economic force that they're having in marketing and in business. Okay? Everybody thinks of the word data. Data is nothing more than part of the solution. When you add data to other data, it produces insight. Success in business has a lot to do with knowing insight that your competitors don't. That conversation is going to come full circle in tomorrow's video.